Chris Lebec.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it's me.
Thanks so much for joining us all here today for the groundbreaking of America's next nuclear power station, Kemmerer Unit 1. It's great to have our partners and supporters with us literally from around the world. But one thing I'm really excited about is to show folks in Washington, show folks from international audiences what a great energy community we have here in Wyoming and what a great partner we have in Lincoln County. Not only is this America's next reactor, it's the first advanced reactor in the free world. It's a watershed moment for this community and the energy security of our nation. Today's the beginning of the next era of nuclear energy. Kemmerer Power Station Unit 1 is going to make history, and Wyoming will be a part of that. With our partners, we are seizing an opportunity not just to deploy an advanced nuclear technology, but we're also meeting growing energy demands and solving serious concerns with American energy security. We're also providing a new future for a community that's been providing energy in the western part of the nation for over a century. When we first came to Wyoming in 2021, we were impressed from day one. We received a warm welcome. We felt the self-reliant culture of Wyoming. We also came quickly to understand that Wyoming has a very high energy IQ. Why is that? Just down the road, the Natrium Power Station just celebrated its 60th anniversary of generating electricity. And between here and Evanston, we have 300 megawatts of new wind power. We respect this energy competence in this region, and we look forward to having Wyoming energy workers from all over the state and from the current Natrium Power Plant working in our first Natrium facility, in future Natrium facilities in the Mountain West, and in the nuclear ecosystem that is already developing in the state of Wyoming since we first announced this plant in 2021. I also want to especially call out the legislative branch support we've had both at the state and federal level in Wyoming. Representative Burkhart sponsored legislation in Wyoming almost immediately after we announced our project, which enabled the nuclear power plant to be built in Wyoming. When we notified Lincoln County folks that Kemmerer, Diamondville, in the Lincoln County area would be the site for the first plant, Senator Dockstetter, who reigns from Lincoln County, famously said, "When do we get started? How can we get ready? We need this to be successful. Tell us what we need to be doing this week." Well, that trust and that cooperation has continued now for 3 years. And today we're beginning a whole new phase of this project. Because you see, even though we made these grand announcements and we've been having meetings with these great leaders for the last 3 years, so far the project hasn't been very visible in the most important place, which is Lincoln County. And the reason for that is we've had 1,000 engineers working in other places on the design. You don't start construction of a nuclear power station till your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. This incredibly rigorous work culminated just last month when the Nuclear Regulatory Commission accepted our construction permit application for Kemmerer Unit 1. Honestly, you will see and hear a lot of hype in nuclear, and you have to ask yourself, when you want to see what the real projects are, you say, who has 1,000 people working on the design? Who has been docketed by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission? And that acceptance by the NRC is objective evidence that this is America's next nuclear power station. So in the coming weeks, we'll start construction on what we call the test and fill facility. This is a facility where we'll test these first-time components that will be like pumps and heat exchangers that will be used in this sodium-cooled plant. And we'll also use this facility to fill the plant with sodium when it's ready for operation. Then, beginning in 2025, we'll start construction on the energy island, which is the classic turbine like you have down the road at the Natrium Power Plant. But in addition, it will include our molten salt energy storage, which is a really unique feature of the Natrium plant. Now, over the course of about 2 years, we expect that construction permit with the NRC to move through the review process. The fact that they accepted it with no level A findings was a great indication of how the regulator felt about the completeness, and we're very proud of that. And then we expect them to approve the nuclear construction, which is a smaller part of the plant consisting of the reactor and the used fuel building. That will commence in 2026. But I have to tell you, I've been so eager for today. And the reason for it is the people of Wyoming has shown us such trust. When we came here earlier this decade, we had a story, we had a name, we had lots of great questions from the community about who we are and how our reactor worked. And I have to say, the folks here showed us a tremendous amount of trust by welcoming us and treating us seriously for 3 years when we really hadn't made an impact in the community yet. But today, that's changing. As we mobilize today, we will have a continuous construction presence at this site until construction is completed in 2030. And then, of course, in the history repeating itself scenario of the Natrium Power Plant, we'll run this plant for 60 or more years. So this begins the beginning of a whole new story in Wyoming's energy future. I also want to call out Bechtel, who's done such a great job with the site so far. Craig, we really look forward to partnering with Bechtel and really preserving that great relationship with the community. I know you've already gotten off to a good start with that. Well, I'll conclude my remarks now. And as a first speaker who requires no introduction, it's your governor, Mark Gordon of Wyoming. And I know you know him, but what you might not know is about our first meeting, when I have to thank PacifiCorp for introducing us in March of 2021. At this time, no one was talking about building new nuclear plants in Wyoming, let alone advanced nuclear. And with PacifiCorp, we explained the opportunity to Governor Gordon, and he said, when do we get started? So thanks, Governor.
Well, it is wonderful to be here today, and Chris, thank you so much. Never doubted. There have been many people that have come to the state and said, here's what our plans are. We always are open for anything to do with energy, and I have said over and over again, if you're going to do something about energy, you're going to do it in Wyoming. Best solar, best wind, best water. We are the source of nuclear material, nuclear fuel, and that's all very, very exciting. But Chris, show me what you're actually going to get accomplished. Now, I knew that you were coming to Lincoln County, and the last time I was here for a groundbreaking was when the Justice Center was opened, and the county commissioner said, you know, if you ever are here overnight and need a place to stay, we've got a place for you in our Justice Center. But today really is remarkable, and I was thinking about James Cash Penney, who of course started J.C. Penney right down the road here in Kemmerer. And he said that things never happen, growth never happens by mere chance. It's the result of forces coming together. Now, how prophetic is that when we talk about this particular plant? We have to have not only a great partner in TerraPower, But somebody who is willing to step up in Bill Gates to make sure that we lead this country in domestic sources of energy, secure, reliable, 24/7 dispatchable energy. Thank you, Bill, for your commitment. We also had to reach to the federal government. We wanted to form the partnership to make sure that this project would proceed. This county was amenable. Not only that, but you've heard from some of the legislators who were here, there was an understanding, and I'll make this really clear. At this time in our country, we are expecting and experiencing tremendous amounts of growth in electrical demand, not only from data centers and AI, but also from electrification of almost everything that we do. That demand has increased in ways that we have not seen before. And Cindy, I know with Rocky Mountain, early on, when we faced some of these energy challenges, it was simple to replace incandescent bulbs with, light-emitting diodes. We could find power in lots of places with efficiency. We're not done with efficiency, but we need generating capacity. What worried me for Wyoming is when you talk about different sorts of energy supply, what are the ones that are going to keep communities alive? What are the ones that demonstrate a commitment to community? And it's things like Natrium that are going to make the difference, which is why our university also stood in the breach and said, you know what, we'll pivot. We need to understand more about what we can do to facilitate nuclear energy, whatever that technology might be. So we have pivoted not only with our community colleges, but with our university to support this effort. And in that process, we also engaged with Idaho National Nuclear Laboratory. So you see, forces have aligned. Growth is happening. Change is happening. Not because we're saying to people, you can't do this, but because we're saying, who's going to stop us from having this? And on this last note, I would say this, and James Cash Penny also said this, I have learned that good things that come to those who wait, but you better hustle while you're waiting. So, thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Well, our next guest needs no introduction as well, but I'll give you a nuclear introduction of my boss, Bill Gates. I've only worked in nuclear energy my whole life, in the Navy and for some other nuclear companies. And it turns out, till I came to work for Bill at TerraPower, I didn't know what innovation was, because today's nuclear industry, in fact, is quite risk-averse, and we really haven't adopted new advanced designs very quickly. If you go and look at many of the nation's nuclear power plants, you'll see older technology. Well, when Bill created TerraPower over 16 years ago, he realized that this was both a challenge and an opportunity, that if we could bring modern computing, modern materials to nuclear fission, we could develop a totally different kind of reactor that has better costs, better safety, operates with renewables. And I want to introduce my boss, Chairman of TerraPower, Bill Gates.
Well, it's wonderful to be here on this beautiful and historic day, and to have such a great group together, including Governor Gordon joining us. The number of things that have come together to get us to this day, and that need to continue to come together to get us to the next big milestone, which will be inaugurating the nuclear plant. It's pretty unbelievable, both leaders at every level of government and lots of private companies. At the federal level, we work closely with the Department of Energy. In terms of private companies, we have many, but in particular Pacific Corp and Berkshire have really been fantastic. I want to acknowledge the great work done by the TerraPower team, starting with Chris, but the whole thing has come together in an amazing way. It's kind of a dream, and here we are making it a reality. It was around 2005 when I was talking to some physics friends of mine about the need for electricity, throughout the world, and really trying to understand from them why nuclear power had gotten so expensive. Building nuclear power plant has lots of challenges, but the real problem the industry had run into is that the costs just gotten too high. And they talked to me about how if you started anew and were willing to embrace innovation, how if you use digital simulation, a different cooling method, got rid of the high pressure, that you could build something that was both safer and cheaper. For example, the heat of the reactor could be completely absorbed no matter what the circumstances was. And so that would make it safe and reliable. So they showed me this work and talked to me about how it would take a mix of great nuclear people and software people to prove this thing out. And so we started a company with a very bold idea to revolutionize nuclear power. And ever since then, we've been making progress. This reactor exists in a virtual mode. It's working really well inside the computer. A little bit harder to make it work out there, but that's what we're starting today. So this is a big step towards safe, abundant, zero carbon energy. And it's important for the future of this country that projects like this succeed. Support from the federal government is critical for every step that we're going through. So this is going to be a case of strong leadership. Other countries are working in similar areas, but they're not nearly as far along as we are here. As has been said, we're thrilled that Kemmerer and Diamondville have stepped up to be such great partners. Very welcoming and a chance to build on the great work that's been done here in the past. We're excited about the skilled workforce. We're excited about how they're embracing, stepping up and saying, okay, what additional training might be needed. Let's make sure that's available, and that having great people to do these jobs is not the limiting factor. I believe this project will keep Kemmerer prosperous for decades to come. And that's because we're not just going to build one plant, we're going to build lots of these things. We're going to support electrification, we're going to support keeping the world's best data centers here in the country. And so we do need a lot more energy, and you're the pioneers that are going to make that happen. So here we are, standing on what will soon be the bedrock of America's energy future. So I'm proud of everybody involved in this. I'm proud of how our country can do things like this, and I can't wait to be here to when we turn the reactor on. Thank you.
And there were two other leaders who we were hoping to share the stage with us today, Senator Barrasso and Senator Lummis. They're in D.C. right now serving the country, representing Wyoming, but I did want to mention their super strong support from day one. Both Senator Barrasso and Senator Lummis serve on influential committees in the Senate, with Senator Barrasso on energy and natural resources, and Senator Lummis on environmental and public works. To both of you, thank you. Well, we talked a lot today about how TerraPower is an innovative company, and we really needed an innovative partner, which we have in PacifiCorp. And not only does it take innovation to develop a new technology, But as we've heard, it's challenging to structure a new nuclear project in the U.S. We don't have a history of success with these projects. So it really requires an innovative commercial approach too, which is what we have with PacifiCorp. We have a situation where with PacifiCorp where we're allowed to build and develop a first-of-a-kind nuclear plant without encumbering the Wyoming ratepayers with those development costs. We recognized that from the beginning, as did PacifiCorp, and that's what's gotten us here today. So now I'd like to introduce Cindy Crane, CEO of PacifiCorp.
It's always great to be in Wyoming. Spent almost all of last week here too, so very excited to be back. Thank you, Chris. PacifiCorp and Rocky Mountain Power, we thank you and the entire TerraPower team, both for your leadership, but also for your innovation. It is a pleasure to be working together on this very exciting journey that we're on, and it is a journey, and to also be able to join you today with Wyoming's leadership and the Kemmerer and Diamondville community to really celebrate this great milestone that we're achieving today. At PacifiCorp, we serve over 2 million customers across the West. We use a very diverse set of energy resources to provide reliable electricity to our customers. For more than 100 years, Rocky Mountain Power has worked together with the state of Wyoming in a real energy partnership to power the greatness of our customers. This has been the backbone of economic development in the state and in the region, ensuring that Wyoming continues to be the top energy exporter. This is a challenging yet very exciting time in our industry. In an era of rapid change, one thing is constant, and one thing will remain constant in the future, and that is the need for reliable, affordable, low-emission or emission-free, and dispatchable energy. The same energy that our Natrium Power plant that's been mentioned, plant right here in Kemmerer and Diamondville communities has provided throughout our region for many, many years. The energy industry is in dire need of innovative technologies like Natrium that will enhance our reliability to serve our customers, it will meet our growing demand, and it will ensure the reliable and resilient energy future that we need in our country. New systems like Natrium will enable us to continue to grow the economy and supporting customers here in Wyoming and throughout the West for the next 100 years. As we work together on this endeavor, we share, as Chris mentioned, we share a common purpose, which is to successfully deploy and demonstrate Natrium technology, as well as a common understanding that as a regulated utility, we and our customers are unable to take the technology risk or fully bear the cost of a first-of-a-kind. We congratulate TerraPower on this significant step toward building the energy resilience for the future. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, PacifiCorp. Well, that was our last speaker for today. There's one more part of this groundbreaking, which is the official breaking of ground. I want to talk about a couple logistics first. In a moment, we're going to have a photo shoot where myself and some fellow leaders are going to break ground. And then we'll have several shifts from our project team and others coming after. What I invite you all to do is remain in your seats for the official groundbreaking with Bill, the governor, and others. And then after that first shift, I invite you to get up and move to the tables where we're going to have lunch and we're going to have briefings on the project. So again, thanks, and hope you enjoy the ceremonial first shovel.